I wanted to continue with the idea of reincarnation, and we said earlier that some people are thinking, when I die, I'd like to be a swan. Or when I die, you'd hear it's a real New Age conception. I come back as a bird, I want to come back. So, traditionally in yoga, there's not a desire to come back as an animal, even a beautiful animal. Because the idea is that the animals are still struggling. And they're struggling as they're embodied. And what is the struggle? Well, if you come with me, we'll sit in the forest. Or sit by a pond. You will see the struggle going on. And it's always going on. And that struggle is eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. It's an ongoing struggle. So if you sit out by my pond, you will see aphids just flying around in the air. And who gets after those aphids? The dragonflies. Matter of fact, one time I saw hundreds of aphids flying around, and then all of a sudden, the dragonflies came, and all of a sudden they all started disappearing. And then the dragonflies think it's safe, and they go by the water, right? And then all of a sudden a frog comes, attacks, right? Then the snapping turtle comes after the frogs, isn't it? Have you ever seen a bird stop and eat? How are they eating? You think they're just like kicking back with their heels and just going through a bowl? No, this is how a bird eats. They take a sip, they look left and look right, right? They take a sip, they look left and look right. There's no peace. Imagine if every time you were taking a bite, you were worried there'd be somebody with a sledgehammer around to kill you. This is what's going on in animal life. Animal life means fearing, sleeping, mating, and defending. So the next question is, are we any different? Are we just animals in that regard? So according to the yogis and the sages, they say no. Actually, in one sense, if all we're doing is eating, sleeping, and mating and defending, then we are no better than an animal. We're just more sophisticated in our eating, right? We're more sophisticated in the way we sleep. Check out my bed, right? We're more sophisticated in our mating, or all our mating rituals. And we got millions of them. And we're all more complicated because of it, right? And then, in defense, we spend all of our finances, our federal finances on defense. It's more sophisticated defense. But it's, needless to say, it's still defense. So, the idea in the human species is, our job is to inquire, who am I? Why am I here? Who am I here? Who am I in this life? Life is so short. Life might end tomorrow. Life could end tomorrow morning, right? Sometimes we even know, God, I just wasted a lot of time today. We don't even know, but there's an inherent idea of that life should be substantial. Life should have purpose, right? There's an inherent feeling when I know instinctually I've wasted time. Yogis say yes, actually. They compare the life, our human existence, like a drop of water on a lotus petal. It's like if you ever drop water on a lotus petal, it turns into a ball. It's a very waxy leaf, and it rolls off. That's our life. Our life is fragile like an egg. It breaks in a second. We tend to think we live a very long time. Our life is momentary. And the real question is, how old are you? Right? For example, my mom's 87 this year. And I'm 47 this year. That means if she lives 10 more years, and I live a day more, if I die tomorrow morning, I'm an old man. So really our age, we could actually all be old in that sense if we were going to die in a couple days. And let me ask you another question. If we really understand that life actually has an ending point, suppose we're going to die tomorrow morning, wouldn't that radically change what you do tonight? If you knew you were going to die tomorrow, wouldn't you maybe change your plans tonight? I'm just going to kick back and watch Breaking Bad tonight. Not if I was going to die tomorrow morning, I probably wouldn't. Right? I might make some phone calls. I might say some thank yous, right? This is when we understand, and this is why great thinkers and sages and thoughtful people meditate on their own temporality. Like Shakespeare writing with a skull on his desk to remind him of his temporality. This was me. This guy was just like me. He had thoughts and desires and dreams and passions and friends. And now that's going to be me soon. What is this lifetime for? What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to contribute? And when we live in a world where people aren't thinking like that, where there's no thought into life, when there's just nothing, then we live in a world where people aren't living a substantial life. And they feel unsubstantial. They feel like there's no value, right? They feel like there's no worth. They feel like there's a huge why. And there's no why in their life. And without that big why, that urgent spiritual why, internally we die. Instead of the why that's so deeply woven into you that it could make you cry. That's the type of why we're looking for. The why that actually will make you cry. This is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm waking up in the morning. This is why I have, right? And it's higher than just existing. I just want to exist. I actually want a contribution. This is where we're starting to weave in the idea of bhakti yoga, is that my life is here as a contribution. It takes all the focus off of me, which is materialism. Me in the center is materialism, right? Taking myself out of the center, or putting other living entities who, right? God is in every being. And then there's divinity. So to see myself a part of something bigger, that is, and my part is to be a contributor to that. That's where the idea of bhakti comes in. That my life is for something bigger than myself. That's what gives the bhakta, the yogi, life, right? And this goes on to what we can talk about later, which is the difference between bhukti and mukti. And that's a hot topic, or it's a completely vague topic